RocSports, I'm back with another video. As you can tell by the title, this is just predictions, quick predictions and breakdowns of all of this week upcoming fights. Let's get right up into it, man. So, a lot of boxing, man. A lot of boxing. We finally back. All my boxing heads out there, we are finally back with some boxing, and we got it for a good minute now. 13 straight weeks, we on fire. But first week back is a big one. We got Triple G coming back, we got Ryan Garcia coming back, and we got Lubin. Very interesting fights. And even some of those, even it's still some other fights like the Tony Harrison fight that's this weekend, coming off of a loss or a disappointing performance. So it's gonna be interesting to see him, you know what I mean, back in the ring and stuff too. But we're gonna go down the list. First thing first, I want to touch on Ryan Garcia. I like Ryan Garcia. I feel like of the cream of the crop, he's on the bottom of the cream of the crop. But I still give him a chance to beat anybody on every given night. I wouldn't pick him, but I would give him a slight chance. Why? Because when we talking strictly being explosive and speed to power and quickness, I don't think there's nobody better than him in the division, man. Maybe other than Tank, maybe. You know what I mean? From the standpoint of Ryan is really fast. I don't think nobody can deny that. Ryan Garcia is also very, very powerful. His timing, he has very good timing. His left hooks, and I just like to see Ryan Garcia fight. But he's also a very flawed fighter, as is most fighters, as is all fighters. But I think that's what makes him Ryan Garcia, though. Because I feel like he can get knocked out by most fighters, most elite fighters, but he can also knock them out. And we haven't seen him knock out an elite fighter or get knocked out by an elite fighter, but I just feel like that he can do that. In terms of, though, like I said, though, in terms of him being on the bottom of the cream of the crop. For the lightweight division, I got it like Tank Davis, Lomachenko, no order. I'm just saying like of these guys. Tank Davis, Lomachenko, Devin Haney, obviously now Kambosos. I'm gonna still include Teofimo, even though I know he's moving up to 140. I'm a Keyshawn Davis fan too, by the way, so I'm throwing his name in there, but I know he's not there yet. But I don't think that Ryan Garcia is as talented as any of those guys, with the exception of maybe Kambosos. But him and Kambosos will be a damn good fight. But I think that he can knock out. I think he can spark Kambosos, though, honestly. But at the same time, though, like I said, he's chinny. Well, yeah, you could say that he's chinny. He's been dropped. He's been hurt multiple times in the past. But like I say, I feel like he can hurt anybody. But Ryan Garcia hasn't been in the ring since January, like the first week of January of last year. And that's a problem, man. Ryan Garcia is what, 23, 22? I don't have it pulled up, but somewhere up in there. He's young, man. 23, 24 years old, somewhere up in there. And he hasn't fought in a year. For whatever reason, I know he had his mental problems, but if you don't be trolling fighters or trying to trash talk fighters and stuff if you're not active yourself. But anyway, he's back this weekend, and he's fighting Emmanuel Tago. This dude got a majority decision. He's coming off a majority decision to Mason Menard. That says enough right there. I remember Mason Menard's getting his socks boxed off of him by Devin Haney, and I remember him getting knocked out cold in the first round from Teofimo. So this dude who we fighting just had a majority decision against him. Ryan Garcia is going to knock this dude out. But I want to see how Ryan Garcia look. I want to see if he's timid any from getting dropped in the Luke Campbell fight. I want to see how sharp he is from being inactive. I want to see the switch from Eddie Reynoso to Joe Goosen to see how he look. But I'm for sure picking Ryan Garcia in this fight. But I want to see him active. I want to see him back in the ring mid to late summer, man. He should be fighting because he's so young. He should be back in the ring middle of the summer and fighting a top dog. Let's see him in Co-May or Fortuna or Isaac Cruz. If you're not going to fight a Tank or Devin Haney, Kambosos, Loma, you know, a top dog, then fight that next tier. You at that point now. I'm high on Ryan Garcia, but like I say, that's what it is. Triple G. Triple G is fighting Murata, and I believe they Shane Mosley's fight on that undercard. Shane Mosley Jr., if I'm not mistaken. I think he's on that card. But anyway, Triple G is fighting Murata. Triple G is another one. Inactive. Haven't been in the ring, if I'm not mistaken, 16 months for Triple G. Triple G is, I believe he turns 40 the day of the fight, before, the day after, something like that. The point is, he's basically 40 years old, and he hasn't been in the ring in 16 months. He's fighting Murata. Murata isn't the worst, but he isn't the best. It's a decent comeback fight. It's a good comeback opponent, but at the same time, Triple G, what are you doing? You sign in this fight, you get past this fight, and you fight Canelo. For what? Like, well, then what, should I say? Because I know what it's for, but then what? I don't know. I'm over Triple G at this point. I wanted him to fight Charlo. I wanted him to fight Andrade. I wanted him to fight Munguia. I wish it was any one of those three over this fight. But like I say, Murata is not a terrible fighter. He's a strong, powerful guy, somewhat. But he don't have enough power for Triple G. And I just think it's a matter of time. It'll be a matter of time before Triple G stops him. So I think that Triple G will win this fight in 7 rounds, knockout. Ryan Garcia and Triple G, I'm picking by knockout within 8. Which brings me to the last fight, the best fight of the weekend. Fundora, the 6'6" junior middleweight assassin, Sebastian Fundora against Erickson Lubin. And if I'm not mistaken, the winner of this fight becomes the mandatory for the WBC belt, which is currently held by Charlo. We all know what happened in 2017 when Lubin met Charlo. But this dude, Fundora, he's been on the tear, man. He's been on the tear. Lubin has too, and I feel like people hasn't given him his just due. Like, I feel like Lubin has bounced back he has definitely recovered from getting knocked out by Charlo. And a lot of people just can't still get past the knockout by Charlo. But, and rightfully so, because it was a vicious knockout. It was one of the craziest knockouts I've seen live. And I was so hyped for that fight because I knew how good Lubin was and is. But that fight exposed a lot, obviously. And since then, Lubin has looked great. But he still, at some point of every fight, gets hurt. Before then, you didn't see that. He was a killer. He was just like any other prospect on the come up. He was killing. Remember his knockout when he dipped down on Jorge Cota, and that's what made I got on that Lubin hype train. But this fight, man, this is a very interesting fight because this dude Fundora, I've been watching him for a minute now too, and he's active, very active. In terms of his actual fighting style, and he's actually active, like he has a lot of fights. He fights often. So it's going to be interesting. I feel like he's one of those fighters that get hits a lot. Talking about Fundora is. Lubin do have power. Lubin definitely does have power, but do we have enough to hurt him? I don't know. Do Fundora have enough power, one-shot power to hurt Lubin? I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised, like I say, because he seemed a little chinny. But at the same time, he has more of an overwhelming style. So I feel like Lubin has to hurt him early and get some respect, man. He obviously has to go to the body and break that tall tree down. But this is going to be a very interesting fight. Very interesting fight. I'm rooting for Lubin. I want him to win this fight. I'm picking him to win this fight. And I want to pick stoppage. But I think that he's going to get a knockdown, but not necessarily stop him. I feel like he can get a knockdown early and then necessarily win a relatively competitive fight, like around 8-4 with a knockdown for Lubin. But I am nervous, I will say that, because if Lubin can't hurt him, Fundora is going to be right there all night. And Lubin's going to have to he's going to have to box. He's going to have to really mix it up against this dude. But we don't know what Fundora is on this level either. So this is a very interesting and big fight for this division. And for both of these dudes' point of their careers, because if Lubin was to lose this fight, it's another big setback. It's another big setback. But if Fedora wins this fight, man, he's gonna be PBC's one of their next big stars for real. They're gonna really try to push him. I can see that. But I feel like Lubin deserves that too if he wins this fight. The winner of this fight is gonna be in a very good position. And the loser is gonna be in a very bad position, especially if it's Lubin. But I'm picking Triple G and Ryan Garcia with an 8, and I'm gonna go with Lubin decision with a knockdown in there. So, like I say, I know we got the Gabe Rosado, Shane Mosley Jr., we got Tony Harrison. So it's a lot of boxing this weekend, man. I know I'm missing some fights too, but we back. Boxing is officially back, and we on fire. This is RocSports, and check it out. All of my boxing, NFL, and NBA fans, like, share, and subscribe, man. Keep coming back. I'm gonna be dropping more content.